Welcome back, sports gamers. It's the natural sportsgamersonline.com. Have a new series for you guys that will go through in detail how you can go from being a Madden beginner to a pro. To help with this, we've brought on Manu on the team with Madden Academy, who is a 3-time Madden Club champion and one of the best Madden players in the world. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe for more Madden 23 tips just like this.
These are the top 5 mistakes you are making right now, and if you correct these mistakes, you will already boost your level of play. But common mistakes for beginners are, they run their forms to the short side. And what I mean by this is, so if you have a formation like trip side end, you want to have your trips on, to the wide side. And when I say the wide side, I mean like just the wide side of the field. And the reason being is it's gonna space out the field a lot better. The receivers aren't all jumbled up together. Again, you want to get your best players out and in space and have them make sure they have distance between each other. You don't want all your targets jumbled up in one area. And also, as we kind of advance along, or even get into more advanced topics in later courses, again, you will have a better understanding of why you don't want to have your trips on the short side. But for now, just kind of go along with, you want to make sure that your trips or any formation, you want to make sure your receivers are on the wides. Where the majority of the receivers are, you want to make sure that they're on the wide side. And number 2, another one of the biggest mistakes is not running forms with a halfback in the backfield. So a lot of people, when they start Madden, they really like to come out in 5 wide verticals. And that's a decent play, but again, if they send any sort of pressure, and when you get to these higher levels of Madden, players are going to have pressure schemes. They're going to have these blitzes, and if you don't have a halfback in the backfield, you're not going to be able to pick up these pressures. So another piece of advice might even be to have your halfback have the tight end and a halfback on the opposite side of each other. So if you went to like a gun bunch, and again, the reason why gun bunch is so popular is because of the pass protection, because you have that tight end and running back on opposite sides, so you can pick up all sorts of pressures. And that's why you see it as probably the #1 meta in competitive Madden, and why you don't see formations like spread or like especially like a 5 wide as much. Again, 5 wide it's going to struggle versus pressure schemes, because you're not going to be able to block. You're not going to be able to block pressure because you don't have anyone in the backfield to block. And number 3 is top 3 mistake you're making is not utilizing zone drops. And let me show you guys what the zone drops are. So again, these zone drops, they're going to be in the coaching adjustments. And as for the coaching adjustments, the reason why I have the auto flip defensive play call on is, so again, it's exactly what the description says here, is to flip your defensive play to best match the offensive formation. So basically what this means is, so if my trips is on the wide side, the slot cornerback is going to be on the side with all the receivers. Whereas if you have auto flip off, then the slot cornerback is going to be on the weak side with the tight end. So, and usually you're going to want the slot cornerback on the side with all the receivers. But again, back to the zone drops. Again, the zone drops are a really good addition to Madden. Arguably maybe the best addition they've ever added, and it's because crossing routes are so effective. Were effective in previous Maddens. These crossing routes, corner routes, and what these flat zones do is, or what these zone drops do is, you can set them to drop to a certain point in the field. So if you know that their corner route runs about 15 yards, you might want to set the flats to like maybe 20. So again, a good rule of thumb is, if the crossing route runs about 20 yards, I'm saying like from start to finish, put your flats on 25. So always bump it up by 5. So again, if at the route from start to finish, the crosser from start to finish runs 20 yards. Bump up your flats by 5, just so the flat will stay a little bit above them, and put them at 25. And say that they're running like a short corner route that runs about 10 yards. Put your flats at about 15, and the zone drop should be there to guard it. And again, this is something we'll get into much more detail later in this course. And again, another huge mistake people make is not using a linebacker or a safety. And again, another key tip, of course, too, is to blitz your user, and he'll get better cuts. He'll run a lot faster. But if you're using the D line, you're gonna give up so many routes that you just want to give up if you kind of master your user. And again, I actually have a course that I highly recommend. It's called we actually have one, Maximizing Your User Defender, and it will make your user tremendously better. Even have a little secret in there on how to get super speed burst with your user, and more so too. It's about just knowing when to be in the right spots at the right time, and how to kind of devise a plan with your user. To always be in a position to interrupt the offensive play, to interrupt the routes on offense. Again, we'll go to much more detail into that in my Maximizing the User Defender course, but for the purpose of this beginner's manual, all I'm gonna say is, try to practice using this guy. Again, because you're gonna be able to guard multiple routes. If you get to a certain level, you're gonna be able to guard multiple routes at the same time with your user. So, say even something like this, and again, you'll be able to run to a drag, get back on the slant. Again, if you're on the D line, your CPU defenders are not going to be able to do that. Your CPU is not going to be able to run between 2 routes like that. Take away 2 routes. So yeah, I was kind of able to take away 2 routes right here. Whereas the CPU defenders, they're kind of just going to stick to one spot of the field. They're not going to be jumping between 2 routes. So make sure you start practicing utilizing a linebacker or safety. And what I would highly recommend to get your user better is, again, use 2 controllers. And what you can do is pick a random play on offense. Or actually, you don't need 2 controllers for this. So what you would want to do is, again, just make sure that only you have the controller on defense, and if you have a second controller, make sure that it's in the middle, just so it's not playing. And what you can do is you can go to a randomized play, and I'll do that right here. So you can go to random play, and then you can select random play as well. So here you're going to be able to, now you'll be able to practice first a variety of looks, a variety of route combinations. So again, you'll have basically unlimited practice on just learning to lurk between different routes and just getting comfortable with the movement. Again, what's cool about the random play feature though is if the CPU senses that, or if the offensive CPU senses that you're not adjusting on defense, that's when they'll snap the ball. So you'll get unlimited reps on like lurking between 2 routes. So that's something I would highly recommend. And the last tip here is, a lot of people do not use practice mode, and even some pros, but I think practice mode is super beneficial because say that you're having trouble stopping, say that you're having trouble stopping a crossing route in a real game. So what I would do is, I said, okay, man, this guy was killing me with crossing routes out of this trips tight end formation. What can I do? And again, a lot of it's going to be trial and error, but honestly, once you have more knowledge of the game and kind of what the zones do and how certain man coverages play, you're gonna be able to put together these plans a lot quicker, and by the end of this course, you should be able to kind of put together some defensive strategies a lot better than you were able to beforehand. So again, it's just kind of testing stuff out, kind of experimenting. You're saying like, okay, man, this crosser was really killing me. You know, let me try different zone drops. Okay, right here we'll select the crosser. But again, this would be a great opportunity to kind of mess around with your zone drops or any other features, like just kind of saying like, oh shit, you know, maybe I could put a purple here, maybe I could, you know, maybe I could man him up as well. So practice mode is really just for experimenting and, you know, learning. Okay, man, this guy does that, he does that. Man, what if I did this? You know, what if I put my zone drops on 25? And then you can kind of confirm that, okay, man, that stops the trips tight end crosser. You'll see here. But again, it's really just taking the time to, you know, acknowledge that, okay, man, this was giving me trouble. You know, let me go back and practice. Let me go back and experiment with certain tactics on defense that can stop the play that someone was running. And as you can see here, like a 25-yard flat was, you know, dropping back to, you know, stop the crosser.
If you appreciate our content and all the work we do to bring you guys the latest news, tips, and gameplay from your favorite sports games, drop a like, subscribe to SGO today. You want to take your game to the next level? Then join SGO Insider.
Looks like you lost another.